first and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who were well and teach all sound doctrine, and peace and blessings to your elect. Now, as you can see, I have an article here referencing a power cut, and I find this so interesting because, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was May or at least early in the year, it was talking about, oh, there could be a power cut, but don't worry about it because we don't think it's gonna happen. Now, if you take this, like I said, if you take everything that this man says, and you take every word that this guy says, or you drink every drop of water that he gives you without even looking at it, then listen, man, I would say, this guy has got you more than deceived, man, because all throughout everything that happened, it should have been a learning curve, and that's scary because it's just frightening to see how blinded these people are. Then it's instantly one precept came to mind when I seen this style. But hold on, it's Psalm 64:8. So they shall make their own tongues, it's like their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, because ultimately they're saying one thing, and then they turn around and something else happens. And this is becoming more, this is happening more and more often, that people are just turning around and say, hold on a minute, didn't you just say this? And then it's kind of like, oh, you can't really question us because we have to do, we have to think about all these different factors, and pretty much all those stuff that they used to saying. And it's like they kind of digging their own graves. Well, yeah, let me get back to the article. It's in one of these tabs. Flights, and this is a minor airport if I'm not mistaken, but flights to and from London Luton Airport have been disrupted after a power cut, with some flights diverted to other airports. And what's this whole power cut stemming from? It's all stemming from the situation between Russia and Ukraine, because Russia is very rich when it comes on to having natural energy and that kind of stuff. And I can't remember how much of the oil, but I think it was I can't remember how much of the oil, but majority of the oil, if I'm not mistaken, comes out of Russia and Ukraine. And oil, you have cooking oil, you have petroleum, you have different things. Of course, you have a lot of oil in the Middle East, but what I was learning is a lot of oil comes from the Russia and Ukraine as well, and that's why you have these countries that kind of feeling this energy situation where you have I seen a picture of I think gas prices going up over there in the States. And listen, if Russia's, you guys get into the mind of Russia's like, okay, you want to portray us as this, you want to put sanctions on us, you want to deliberately do something that we told you not to do. Okay, you have to suffer the consequences. We have all this energy, you're not really rich, you're not really rich in energy like that. You have to get your your energy from another place. So if we put a ban on you, what are you really gonna do? And it's funny to see how the Lord is, which direction the Lord is taking this, because energy, like you have a power cut. A power cut is not just lights that going out; it's entire electricity. What does electricity? What's one of the things electricity powers? You have chillers, and you have freezers, you have fridges, for example. And freezers is what? Freezers is where they store food like poultry. They can store frozen veg. They can store cheese, milk, and that type of stuff. And that's why, if there's a power cut, it's gonna affect those chillers, and those chillers can lead to a food shortage. That's how I was thinking about it when I was kind of thinking about the power cut, because I'm like, people don't realize the power cut is not just it's not just lights, it's power, it's freezes. Because if you gotta think about it, if there's no power, and you have perishable foods in a freezer, or you have poultry in a freezer, you need it at a certain temperature to keep it fresh, or at least fresh to a degree, you know. um, and there's no power to actually source this. Okay, they can argue, oh, quote unquote backup generator, but I guess, but how long is that gonna last for? Because a backup generator everywhere is not gonna have a backup generator. Even if they do have backup generators, everywhere is not gonna have a backup generator. So you have to take into account, okay, all that food could waste, which could lead to what? Food shortages, high inflation, prices skyrocket. There's different things. There's when I sat back and meditated on it, I'm like, yo, oh, we don't even realize how serious things could get, because I was sitting down meditating it. Yo, the this thing can influence so many different things. You have natural resource, so like energy, which can impact food, which can impact prices, you know which could because there's already war conflict going on. So that's already an issue. But hold on. If I yeah, let me get Ezra's second Ezra's. uh Here is second Ezra's 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their, yeah, let me get all of it. Their kings nor princes, and the cause of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go in a city and shall not be able to. And just like we see from the article with the flights, like, of course, okay, you can drive, for example, you can drive from, the city I'm from, which is Manchester, to, for example, to a city like London, which is, that's a good drive. That's at least, from, I think that's at least 4 hours. So I think that's over 4 hours. That's what it usually is. It's usually over 4 hours. But you have to take into account, cities just not the cities of your own country. Cities is, we have different cities around the world, so you gotta take into account, okay, if these planes can't take off due to power cuts, because you need to be able to check in, and a whole bunch of other stuff. There's different things that go on in an airport that require power. Of course, airplanes themselves have fuel, but I believe even the navigation system on the planes probably would have been affected by the power cut. I could be mistaken, but it may very well have been. For because of their prides, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods for the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. And that's signifying that it's going to get real hard out here, that people are going to get desperate, and they're going to get what they need by any means necessary. And like what I said before, if you have for example, if you have Russia putting tariffs, saying, okay, we're not gonna allow you to, basically they're not gonna be allowed to get more energy off them, like oil, for example. Then what you gonna have, like, more power cuts, for example, more power cuts, or a big power cut, like say in the winter, like they were talking about. And that's gonna lead to what? If there's loads of issues with power, it can lead to power cuts. Which power cuts, like I said, it not only affects light but electricity in general. And something that's powered by electricity is food in general, because food is stored. And if you have a situation where there's a power cut, then that leads to a whole bunch of food being going off, because there's certain food that has to be kept at a certain temperature. In fact, usually there's a significant amount of food that needs to be kept at a certain temperature. So what happens when a lot of food spoils? They have to put up the prices, and then there's less food going out. So there's less food going out. That means not many people can get food, which leads to things like people may be going hungry, and then you may have food in your house, and then someone smells the food and like, oh, food, food, just kind of in that mindset, and then suddenly your doors getting kicked down, and it's like, okay, you give us some of your, if you give us your food, no one gets hurt. Kind of giving you an ultimatum like that. So you have to really put into account. So listen, the Lord, when I was actually meditating, I was like, oh wow, because even now I'm kind of like, I'm kind of, I kind of don't even know how to phrase it. I don't. It's kind of like, wow, the Lord really had this thing with Russia and Ukraine. Of course, the it's prophecy that Russia's gonna get roused up. But seeing how many things that this could lead to, of course, back in Egypt, there was Moses, there was a darkness. The Lord had a dark in Egypt, and hey, power cuts in modern day Egypt, which is America. Hey, the Lord could have it where there's a darkness over there as well, or even the entire globe. Who knows? Apart from his elect, who knows? Obviously, I speak as a man, so I can't say for certain that that's definitely gonna happen. But hey, we'll wait and see. But the Lord definitely has a lot in store for later in the year. So that's why the scripture says, "Be not ignorant in anything small or great," because, like I said before, you have something small that you ignore, that you disregard, that you don't watch, that you don't, like, for example, you have an illness, but it started giving you small signs, but you kind of disregarded it because you thought it was nothing. Then it comes out, something that's hard to deal with. But it would have been better if you watched it early, just like we watching these little things as soon as they're happening, because hey, you don't know how fast something can move. But anyway, back to the article. Uh, Flights have been. Let me just restart here. Flights to and from London Luton Airport have been disrupted from a power cut, with some flights diverted to other airports. The the airport said on Sunday the power cut had caused a temporary loss of navigational aids. A number of arrivals and departures were delayed. And oh, they are not. I believe I mentioned that before. The issue with their navigation system. Let me see. Check the airline. So like caused a temporary, and just said here, a loss of navigational aid. Because I'm like, listen, the navigation system that they have in those planes, you see them portraying in movies like that has to run off electricity, and there's gonna be other stuff in that plane that do as well. With a number of arrivals and departures were delayed, with passengers urged to check their with their airlines for details. Engineers have resolved the issue on Sunday morning, with some knock-on disruption likely, the airport said. It is understood a number of flights were redirected to other airports, including Gatwick, which is a airport I think I mentioned earlier, Doncaster and Liverpool. I didn't even know them two had airports. Some EasyJet arrivals were also cancelled. One passenger tweeted her Wizz Air flight from Kow Kowatis in Poland to Luton had been redirected to Midlands Airport near Derby, 87 miles with 140 kilometers away. Waiting on the coach since 9 a.m. with a 14-month-old boy with limited naps, he says. No idea when we're gonna go to Luton. Now this is something minor. So this is something minor. Like, the Lord has a way of showing little previews of things that are about to take place. Like, you've had different things happen. Like, you've had people riot. You've had this, for example, you've had people robbed. But Jacob's trouble. Can you like? And we're getting ready to really get into that. Can you imagine how much of a worse level that's gonna be on? She's with her 14-month-old boy with limited nappies. Now in Jacob's trouble, she may not be able to get nappies. You know, she may be hungry. I'm being realistic here. The doo-doo may be a solution for a meal. I'm speaking as a man, but I'm just saying because people are really gonna get desperate. And the scriptures also says, "Woe unto let me find it." And this is actually, yeah, it is in Matthew 24:19. And woe unto them that are with child and give them slack, and woe unto them that are with child and to them that give suck in those days. And what that's referring to when it says suck is that when you feed a baby breast milk, like when a woman breastfeeds a baby, that's what that's going into. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Now, what were they saying? They're referring to how many homes could be affected. Just over here in the UK, by a bad power cut, I believe they said 6 million. No, the 6 million, 6 million is a big number, especially that's I believe that's almost 10%. We'll see which direction the Lord has this going, because we're all about this kingdom going down, and us getting into the kingdom of heaven faster, man. And everything, like the brother Bakar Amar said one time, well, he said this numerous of times, everything is worse in the winter. Like, even the weather, for instance, like for example, you get hit in the winter, you'll feel that much worse, like, than on a warm day, because your bones, like your skin, you already feel a bit brittle. You're already feeling brittle. Um, for there shall be great, for then shall be great tribulations, such as not since the beginning. And listen, there have been some things in the scriptures. Now, like I was saying, that woman that was with child, that's going to be on a whole different level when you get into Jacob's trouble, because not only is that baby, you're not really going to have much pampers for that baby. You're not really going to have much food either. The both of you are going to be in a desperate situation, and babies are very dependent, because especially a 14-month-old baby, because a baby can't really do anything. A baby like that, a baby in general can't really do anything for itself. It's dependent on a parent, usually the mother, to look after it. But if the mother isn't able to help or eat either, then it's a complete harder situation. And just like I said, you've had cannibalism in the scriptures, because what did it say in First Kings, the 6th chapter? I believe it was the king of Samaria. He came, so like it might there's a great famine in Samaria, and a king came, and there was a woman begging him to help her, because she's in a dire situation. She's desperate. But I didn't want to say what I said wrong, so let me check. I knew it's a famine in Samaria, but let me just see if it. Let's just see the king. That's like it. It was a great famine in Samaria, and the king of Israel was passing them, and then the woman was crying. It said, "Help me, my king." But the king is like, if the Lord is not really helping you, who am I? Like it says right here, if the Lord do not help thee, when shall I help thee? Because like, listen, ultimately this is all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, and if He's not helping you, how can I really help you? So the solution is to eat the child, because you gotta imagine she's in a desperate situation. She hasn't eaten for I can't see how long she hasn't eaten for a significant amount of time, and there's a serious famine. Which in a famine there is still food, but very 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 scarce, man. And you already know that this was your, like I said, this is a serious famine, so you can already imagine what the situation was as well. But anyway, back to the article. No idea when we get back to Luton. Another Wizz Air pass. Oh, I think I read this already, but let me jump down here. They spent the night sleeping in a car with 3-year-old to then be told to then be told of Sunday's holdup following a power failure in the area this morning. A temporary loss of navigational aids at the airport resulted in some disruption to flight, Luton Airport said. Engineers quickly resolved the issue and operation have returned to normal, although some knock-on effects are likely. Passengers should speak to the airlines for the status of their flights. We're very sorry for any inconvenience caused. A spokesperson for EasyJet said its said its flight from Belfast was diverted to Gatwick and the return flight was cancelled. And you gotta take into account there's been a major power cut. They're not in terms of a power cut, especially in modern society. There's everything is run by technology. So if there's a power cut, then I can't. There's very few businesses that will be able to function normally because everything is run by technology. And I may be stressing it. I may be stretching it or stressing it on the few, because look at modern society. Because even farms like machinery, you have to pay electric like bills like electricity because those machines don't move themselves. We notified customers due to travel to Belfast with options to rebook or receive a refund and are providing hotel accommodation and meals where required, they added. No, they're saying, okay, we reimburse you and whatnot. Fair enough. But we can ultimately see, like, when you look at this spiritually, you can look how the where the Lord is leading this. Because where these people are thinking, oh, we got quote unquote hot girl summer, or we got the best winter, not why that's well they like snow, but I was thinking, what was I thinking of? Well, we got the best summer. This summer's gonna be lit. This summer's gonna be this. This is gonna be that. Listen, okay, fair enough. You may have a nice summer, but listen, you may have a nice summer, but the Lord, but in the winter, the Lord may hit you over with an 18-wheeler, in the words of Tyson Fury, man. At Gatwick, due to a coach shortage availability at Gatwick, customers have made arrangements to travel from Gatwick to Luton. Will be reimbursed for their travel expenses. Now, I don't exactly know Luton. I don't know London in general, to be honest. But Gatwick is on the outskirts. Is more on the outskirts of London. And if you're talking about on a coach, because coaches, like when they travel, make stops, so customers can buy snacks and whatnot, but they make a lot of stops. But so I'm not sure, that could have been a 4-hour journey or something like that, or 3-4 hour journey, because coaches, they take a while. Oh, this looks like it's the end of the article. Let me see if I can find a scripture to close out on. Now, as I say a lot, now this thing may be seeming like it's took a little bit of time, like it's been dragging or whatnot, but hey, this is all happening in the Lord's time, because we all get excited and whatnot. Like especially when you just get into the truth, you're wanting everything to happen right now, because you're feeling like it's time. You're happy that you're in the right thing. You want to do what you can. You're overzealous and whatnot. Listen, that was me. I was writing out. I remember I had a planner. I can't even find that planner now, but I had a planner because my school gave me a planner. I wrote, wrote out 12 tribes and wrote out, scriptures. I believe Jeremiah 51 and 20. My battle axe and weapons of war. I wrote that all. I wrote out different precepts, but that's beside the point as well. But yeah, but ultimately there's certain things that have to happen before what do you call it, before the law returns ultimately. And even though I didn't explicitly state Marcus as as a something that could be affected by directly affected by Russia. Now you gotta have to sit back and think about this. Listen, if they have a problematic situation coming at them from every angle, then this is the perfect time to step in with a solution and say, okay, we have this thing now. We're gonna try and maintain rushing this thing, but everyone has to take this thing so that we can identify them. At the end of the day, everyone has to take this thing. We've come up a way to technologically advance, but in order for us to develop and do better, to have to be in a better situation, you've all got to do this. And a lot of people are gonna fold. Cause a lot of people folded with Vanessa. How much more are they gonna fold? With Marcus, man. Because Marcus is gonna be under heavy pressure. No, of course the law could have like the other Italian one said, like the mark of the beast, like yeah, the MOB isn't the Vanessa, but you shouldn't take it at the same time. But the law could still have mercy on someone after they take it. The Vanessa, he could have had them. They could have get jacked up, and the law could have it to where they're healed, and and they end up believing it, something like that. But anyway, Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, by the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. And we have to live by faith, because especially in this thing where times are gonna get serious, we have to move with heavy faith, because things are gonna be heating up out here. Now I hope this video was edifying. I'm gonna put the link of the article in the description, and I'm just gonna put it in the description. I pray that this was edifying, and in closing I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Bashim Dash. Until next time, Shalom.